Johnny, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. Take it on the run, on the run.
Hello, I'm John Hyatt. My grandfathers, Lon Gilmer and Lem Hyatt, both participated in what was then called the Great War. They began by fighting against Pancho Villa in Mexico, and then Lon Gilmer was sent to France, where he was wounded. Many years ago, my aunts and uncles gathered together for a family occasion, and my Uncle Fletcher told the story of what had happened to his father. Here then is the story of Lon Gilmer's experience in World War I.
Over there, send the word over
Lon worked in the mill, I know many did.
He worked in there until he come out of the service, and he had that problem. He couldn't work in the mill. He couldn't stand the dust. He got gassed over in France when he was wounded. In fact,
You offhand know the number of his outfit.
yeah, I got it at home. On his
He did
discharge.
several outfits. He is down on the Mexican border.
Yeah, I know, but I've got that document also.
Well, my dad was on the Mexican border during World War I. They might have been.
No, this was the Mexican uprising before World War I. He was down there in 1916.
Well, my daddy is.
Yeah.
But I had never
He was
heard
in the
that.
cavalry. Daddy was in the cavalry.
My daddy is in Galveston.
From his unit from Gainesville went down there. So he went in service.
Now, let's see. He went in service when?
Well, he was in the cavalry.
1915 or so.
I think it was 16.
I think he went in there when he was about 16.
Yeah, but he was home then. He just went in there, and they'd train one day a week or 2 days a week, at New Holland. And he said that, I hear him last talk, he had a couple of buddies that they'd get together every once in a while and talk about it. He said when they called him up and they sent him
He
out
still
to
had
Texas.
buddies. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember an old feller.
Yeah.
One I know that worked at Penny's there in his game. One that was one of his old buddies.
Yeah.
What is his name? Quarterbum or something like that, or
No.
yeah.
Well, was they training cavalry there at?
In New Holland, yeah. They had a cavalry troop there. I've got his thing from him. And he said they called him up and they sent him out to the Texas and Mexican border. He said the officer's the only one allowed to carry the horses with him. He said that they rode for days on this train, and said finally the train pulled up out. He said there wasn't nothing for miles. Said you couldn't see nothing. They got off the train out there just about sundown, and said there was a little old corral built out there, and that's all there was out there. And said they got off and they pitched their tents, and the officers got their horses off the train, but they wouldn't care. Said next morning about daylight, here comes 2 cowboys in there with a drove of horses, and said, and little old bitty men said they wasn't as big as you thumb. He said they got out there the next morning, they brought those horses in, so they saddled them up, and said them horses bucking, they'd sit on for about 30 seconds, and say that was broke, and says after they got through, says they told us to go out there and pick out our horses. And said we did, and says we finally got them bridle on them and helping each other, and got a saddle on them, and said we led them around there a little bit, and said had us go out there and line them up, and said we lined them up out there, and the old lieutenant was on his horse there, and says he said, all right men, mount up. He said we started mounting up, said the horses went one way and the men went another. Said took 3 days to round them horses up off the desert out there in Texas. He said,
Really sad.
he said they chased them horses for 3 days out there. He said you never seen such a sight in your life. The men went one way and they tried to get on them horses, and the horses went the other way.
Let's see, what was the name of that bandit they was trying to corral out there in Mexico?
Well, I don't know.
Villa.
Charlie is somebody. No.
He come home from France because he got wounded.
Yeah, he was, he
It
didn't,
was gas.
He got out of the army.
no, wasn't gas.
How
Let
was
me
it?
tell you, let me tell you
Gas
something.
boom.
No, let me tell you what
I
happened.
knew that, I told you that.
Let me tell you,
You had some in the car, though.
let me tell you exactly what happened
Had
to my
some in the
daddy.
trunk of the car.
All right.
Well, most people don't know it. I've never told anybody. Daddy got wounded. One of his testicles was shot out. He only had one testicle. And while he
Well,
was,
he didn't ever tell me about that.
he didn't like to talk about it. And
He tell
after
you
the
about it?
battle was over, Daddy laid on the battlefield for 3 days and 3 nights. And they was using gas there. 3 days later, they come around picking up the dead, and they found Daddy alive. He about bled to death. He got gas, and one of his lungs had collapsed. And they got him back to a field hospital, and they sent him back to San Francisco, the hospital there. He stayed out there for a while. Then he got out of the service, and then he had to go to the TB sanitarium up in
But thought he had
Tennessee.
TB.
Yeah,
Johnson.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
thought he had TB.
Yeah, I thought he had TB, what it was,
Use that gas lung.
yeah, the gas. And he stayed up there for 5 years. It was a big house, about 3 stories tall. I've seen the house.
I've seen pictures.
Yeah, and it had a screened-in porch all the way around on every floor, and they made him sleep outside every night. He said he woke up in the morning and it'd be 2-3 inches of snow on his blanket. They wouldn't give him but 2 blankets.
And how long did he stay there?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
Did he,
To
did
get
he
his
visit
lung.
back down to Gainesville, or?
He must have, because
Yeah,
Bill
they-
came along sometime in
Yeah. Yeah, he'd get a
After
weekend
that, between
pass.
that
Yeah.
time.
You know, every once in a while he'd get a weekend pass. And Mama went up there to visit him some. But that's what happened to my daddy.
Over there, send the word over there, that the Yanks are coming, the Yanks are coming, the drums rum-tumming everywhere.